Are you ready for the first Friday of October? Are you ready for Wicked Radio today? Because I'm going to tell you something. I have never in my life been as pissed off as I am this morning at these clowns that run our country. And you should be pissed off too. I've been pissed off before in my life. Trust me on this. You're going to hear that word a lot today because it's all come to a head. All of it has. And that's, quite frankly, the appropriate and honestly the required response of what's happening right now with this lack of response from our government for this horrific Storm Helene and what it's exposed. And it's an amazing time, though. It's amazing how all of it's come to a head. Everything got exposed. Everything for what these people are all about. It's a strange, bizarre, and hideous, wicked mix of incompetence, but also just a deranged struggle for power. And they're willing to put people's lives at risk and forget about them. But now they're being exposed. So what could we do about it? Well, we're going to talk about Helene, what to do about it. The update, which is rough, I'm telling you. It's not the nicest possible story. We're also going to talk about the ports being open. Springsteen, Trump back in Pennsylvania, in Butler, Pennsylvania. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the army of election lawyers. But then also, Happy New Year. Happy Rosh Hashanah to my Jewish friends. It's Rosh Hashanah. I got checking notes. The year is 5785. This world has been around a long time. Now, our country's only been around a couple of years, a couple of hundred years, but hopefully around longer. But I'm telling you something. If this doesn't outrage you, I don't know what will. Let's give a little update. And again, it's not good news. So the official death toll from Hurricane Helene is top 200. It's going to go way higher than that. John Rich, this is interesting. You know the country guy John Rich, Big and Rich? Maybe you're familiar with him. He has done a lot of, in fact, we'll get to the hurricane attempted rescues and helicopters in a second here. He posted a law enforcement source telling him they've already used, in western North Carolina, over 500 bodies in trees, mud, cars, houses everywhere. And I know this is rough, and I totally get it, and I understand that. But again, it's needed and it's necessary to tell you exactly what's going on here. No Fed support whatsoever. This is according to a first responder source. Again, talking to him. FEMA, you know about that. We covered that a lot yesterday. We're going to cover it again today because it got worse. No Fed support whatsoever, and FEMA is stopping volunteers and volunteer organizations from rescuing people or distributing relief supplies when they could. That'll outrage you. It's coming. FEMA has declared they're out of disaster relief money. You know that. After spending what you know they already spent. Let's go to Alejandro Mayorkas right now, in fact. What does he say about it? What does he say about all that FEMA money? Well, let's see.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
No, not enough funds. Gee, I wonder why that is. You little pimple-headed hemorrhoid in an empty suit. You swamp monster bureaucrat idiot. Why don't you? Because we all know what the answer is, and this one is as simple as it gets. Because you spent it on illegal immigration and housing people into this country that you invited here. Families looking for a better life, I understand that, but what's coming now? They're not families. They're fighting-age males. How much did you spend? Well, between $650 million to $1 billion in tax dollars in illegal aliens, giving them taxpayer-funded rent, thousands of taxpayer dollars, cash, just straight-up cash. iPhones, don't forget about that, what we spent on that. It's into the tens of millions into iPhone money. And no money for these people stuck in this storm, right? Well, wait a minute. I misspoke there for a second. There's a little bit of money. How much?
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
That'll cover it. That'll cover your house being gone. Yeah, that'll cover all those rescue efforts. $750. Okay, right. Hey, did you know this, by the way? There's another thing that came out throughout all of this as we look at the numbers. And again, this is why you should be outraged. Do you know there are 730 hotels in New York City? 730 of them that are being occupied by migrants in this migrant crisis. Not the shelters, hotels. Did you know that? There are boy, thousands of hotels in New York City, but 730 of them occupied by migrants. Okay. All right. Now, I've seen personally hundreds of videos on social media, which means there are thousands, which possibly means there are tens of thousands of videos of people like the guy you're about to hear right now, Western Carolina man, who he has internet access, not power, but maybe he's on Starlink. I'm not too sure. There are too many of them to fake. And you'll hear this guy's voice, and there's nothing insincere. There's nothing faked about this guy's responses. He's trying to help out people up in the mountains of where he lives to rescue them, or at the very least, what he's trying to do is help in a respectful way try to recover some of these bodies that are stuck there. And you know what? He's being threatened. He and others can't go up there. And he goes on to describe this. And again, this is one of hundreds I saw yesterday, but he says it so well. The information's not going back in the bottle. It's not. Listen to this guy's voice and tell me you're not outraged.
We can't go help. We can't go save anybody. We've been threatened. We'll get arrested. I can't imagine the people that are still up there holding on to survive. I mean, we still got electric trucks going all over the place here. Got trees down, tree on my house in the back. But it's incredible. It's incredible that we, the people, are willing to let the government tell us that we are not allowed to save our own people.
But it's happening. And we, the people, he's exactly right about that. Because here's the thing. Remember at the beginning there, I said that this has all come to a head. It's all of it, all at once, all of the corruption, all of the devastation. It really points to and exposes and takes the mask off of every one of these issues that the media's tried to tell you for so long, that these candidates have tried to tell you for so long on the Democratic side, that that's not an issue. Mayorkas, who we just heard from right there, a little pimple-headed empty suit, told you for 3 years until they couldn't ignore it anymore, that there's no migrant crisis, not whatsoever. Well, it's a crisis, all right. It has been a crisis. It's the day one that Biden was sworn in, and you opened up this border. And now this crisis has led to no money for people, American citizens, who actually need it. And you're still gaslighting the American people. They're trying to lie to us, telling them that they can't do anything, and they're doing everything they possibly can. And here's what makes it truly, truly, truly evil. It's not only incompetence, and it's not only a lack of money, and this is why I say this is the most pissed off I've ever been as an American citizen. It's the optics. They're afraid of the optics of regular Americans, just people. And that guy's got a tree in his house too, but the guy you just heard from trying to help out his fellow Americans. But they don't want the optics of Americans doing that for Americans. And that's what's truly, truly the most evil of this response to it all. And I'm telling you, man, it's just getting worse with what they're all about. In this storm, surprisingly, in the aftermath and the lack of response in storm recovery and rescue, the lack of it, not just lack of money, lack of caring, and the gaslighting that's still going on, this exposes everything that they're all about. But, Bill, they wouldn't really do that, would they? They wouldn't stop Americans from going in and helping out other Americans, would they? Would they really do that? Oh, I don't know. Here's Mayor Pete. Here's little Pete, the transportation secretary.
There's also some safety issues that come up. For example, temporary flight restrictions to make sure that the airspace is clear for any flights or drone activity that might be involved in helping to allow those emergency responders to do their job.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. You know, if a Fed helicopter or a FEMA helicopter is trying to get in there and take bodies out of trees or rescue people that have not had even water, by the way, for 6-7 days ongoing, do you think those people care who comes to help them? Do you think they actually care? That the continued gaslighting from these people, it is just absolutely hideous, which is why I say the required response from you and me and everybody else is you should be appropriately pissed off. You should be patriotically pissed off that they're actually doing this to you, because all of it's come to a head. We didn't think it would. October surprise? You don't want to know what the surprise is? The surprise is this isn't going back in the bottle. Everybody is aware of their corruption now. Everybody is. And they can't stop it. They can't stop it. Now, I know if if Kamala gets elected, they're going to crack down on social media again. They'll go after Elon. They'll probably try to kill him. I mean, to be completely honest, they'll definitely try to take X down. I understand that. But there'll be other outlets popping up. And even that video there of the Western Carolina guy, that poor guy trying to help his fellow citizens, like that, similar videos like that. I mean, thousands and thousands of them on TikTok. Chinese-run TikTok. When there's enough of that information, when there's enough of that content out there, they can't really stop it. If you want to take hope in this and think, well, what can I do? Well, what can I do in my daily life about this? That's what it is spread the information. And you probably have somebody in your life or you work with or a relative or, I don't know, a neighbor that'll try to parrot that same line to you. Well, they're trying to do everything they can, but they simply can't get to the area because, people are in the way. And here's what you can do. Here's what each and every one of us can do. One by one, on an individual basis, word by word, spread the word and correct those people and say, no, that's actually not true. They're stopping Americans from helping Americans. That's what's happening. And they don't have enough money because they gave it to illegals. And they'll still argue with you, but you can do the best you can. No, we can't just sit here and bitch about it. What can you do? You spread the word to each and every person that needs to hear about it. Because this is a massive turning point. It's an amazing, and you can feel it. You can feel it, you can see it, you can hear it. This is an amazing turning point in the state of this country and where we're going from here on out. I don't think we're going back. And it may not. Who the heck knows? Who the heck knows what's going to happen in weeks on November 5th with this election and the days afterward. But I will tell you something else. It's you've reached a point where the backlash is underway with Americans in this country. We're not taking it anymore. That doesn't mean violence, but you're spreading the word, and people are outwardly, righteously pissed off at what's going on in this country, as they should be. Absolutely, completely, totally should be. Don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad at all, because it's appropriate. All right, another news. Hey, the ports are open. The big port strike. Remember that union guy? Remember that guy? We're gonna break you. We'll shut this country down if we don't get our 70% pay raise. And they offered him 50%. That's not good enough. We'll shut down those ports. That guy. And then it turns out that they found out he's a multi-millionaire. Again, another voice of the people. That guy. Well, I wonder what changed. I wonder why the ports are open. Here's the update. They're gonna revisit this in January. They're gonna revisit this and renegotiate then. But somebody got to them. I wonder if it was a governor like, I don't know, Ron DeSantis. Heavy D from my state of Florida. Very familiar with this guy. And whenever something like this happens, and I'm not alone. A lot of my friends do the same thing too. And a lot of you do. A lot of you listeners. I wonder when DeSantis is going to get involved in this. And I wonder what he's going to do. And he always does. You may not like him. You may not be happy that he ran against Trump. But I'm telling you, this guy is a good administrator. He's a good manager. And he does not mess around. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Like sending the Florida National Guard to these ports. Tell him you got to break them then when you have the guard breathing down your neck.
At my direction, the Florida National Guard and Florida State Guard will be deployed to critical ports affected to maintain order and, if possible, resume operations, which would otherwise be shut down during this interruption.
Wonder if that changed things. Wonder if they said that DeSantis and probably Greg Abbott from Texas would do the same thing. These two always seem to work in concert. They always follow each other. I think they have late night text conferences. Hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm sending the guard to the ports. All right, I'll do that too. Maybe some other governors too. I don't know, but that was enough to break that strike. Or was it something else? Was it this current administration, whoever the hell is in charge, the blob, the swamp monsters, saying to the Longshoremen Union, hey, we got a real crisis right now, and people are breathing down our necks. In America, they know what we're up to. Can you hold off on this strike until January? Because wink, wink, nod, nod, we're pretty sure we got this election in the bag. We're pretty sure that we're pulling all the right strings, and just like we did before, we're pretty sure. So hold off until January. Then we'll get you your deal then. Was it that? I don't know. Could have been a combination of different things. We'll see in January, I guess. I will say this, if Trump is in office, that they're not going to get their deal in January. Not going to happen. We'll see. Glad the ports are open, though. Good. People need it. It's good for the country. Well, here's another sign of things. Remember, it wasn't too long ago. It's like 5 months ago. And they outwardly said it. A lot of celebrities said they're going to stay out of politics this time. In fact, and I know this for a fact, Taylor Swift said she was not going to get involved in politics. So did some of the other people. So did the other entertainers and writers and actors, singers, whatever, Broadway people. What changed there? What changed? Oh, yeah, internal polling, especially in states like Pennsylvania and in Michigan, where, and it's not just the presidential ticket, it's all down the line, where the Democrats looked at this and they said, uh-oh, call in special forces. Get the celebrity endorsements going once again because we need them. And if you have to, threaten them. All right, I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I've always thought. Let's go to the boss, which he's always called himself. Bruce Springsteen. He has jumped back into the fray. Did a big video. I'm sure you saw this yesterday. And we got it here for you. I'm going to break it down bit by bit, and we'll discuss Bruce Springsteen's endorsement of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and why he's the working man, right? He's always told us he's the working man. He did his video from a diner, and he's there talking to the American people, why it's so important. You know, a diner. That guy hasn't been to a diner in 40 years. Here's also, and I posted this last night, here's also one of the biggest fallacies in entertainment, that this guy has been the voice of the people, of the working man. Bruce Springsteen was a millionaire at 23. A millionaire. And he hasn't looked back. He has not ever represented the working man in most of his life. And he also, by the way, is one of the dumbest, dimmest, stupidest celebrities you will ever encounter in your life. He doesn't know any better. So he's an easy influencer for the Democrats to get a hold of. But the endorsement happened yesterday, and he's number one trending as of like an hour ago. As of this, on X, the boss is trending once again. Let's break it down bit by bit, shall we?
I'm supporting Kamala Harris for president and Tim Walz for vice president.
Shocker.
And opposing Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
Why is that?
Here's why.
Why?
We are shortly coming upon one of the most consequential elections in our nation's history.
True.
Perhaps not since the Civil War has this great country felt as politically, spiritually, and emotionally divided as it does then at this moment.
Because of you guys.
It doesn't have to be this way.
That's true.
The common values, the shared stories that make us a great and united nation
True.
are waiting to be rediscovered and retold once again.
We agree.
Now that will take time, hard work, intelligence, faith, and women and men with the national good guiding their hearts.
Yeah.
America's the most powerful nation on earth, not just because of her overwhelming military strength or economic power, but because of what she stands for, what she means, what she believes in.
Which is what?
Freedom, social justice, equal opportunity, the right to be and love who you want. These are the things that make America great.
Totally agree. By the way, Bruce, you're not bright enough to understand this, but Trump supports every one of those things. But you've been totally gaslighted, and you're not smart enough to see through it. And yet you felt the need still to talk to your audience and to go out there and gaslight them and continue that going on. This is why you're dumb. You're incredibly stupid. You always have been. And if you're one of those people that's like, no, you're one of those, I'm born in the USA, Bruce. He's for the working man. He's Mr. America. I don't want to know you. I don't want you listening to me. I don't want you following me because you're dumb too. Go away. Shoo. Don't want you. You're not smart enough for us, the hardcore, paying attention to what's going on in this. We don't need you. Will it have an effect? I don't think so. I think it's already baked in. The people dumb enough to believe everything he just said, they're already, are they going to vote if they vote? It doesn't change any minds. I think there's very few people right now as we stand weeks away from this election that haven't decided. I mean, honestly. And they always poll the undecided. I don't know. I don't know, because I think even the independents have decided it. But we shall find out. Speaking of that stuff, you want some good news? And this actually is good news. And it should be good news for everybody. Because every American should want our elections to be secure. Well, they are. They are. Okay, sure, right. We can argue about 2020 till the cows come home. But if you're going to tell me, state by state, county by county, across this country, our elections are secure, you're probably a Springsteen listener. But how about this? It was a while ago that Laura Trump and Michael Whatley, they're the co-chairs of the RNC right now. They had promised that they were going to have this quote-unquote army of election lawyers watching, monitoring, filing preemptive lawsuits to make sure things were on the up and up, which, again, we should all be in favor of, right? Every one of us should be. Everybody should be. And there's only one reason why you don't want voter ID, by the way. You want to cheat an election. Different story. Well, it appears as though they may have done it. They may have actually done this because the RNC's Director of Election Integrity and Senior Advisor, Michael Whatley, and his co-chair, Laura Trump, they shared this memo yesterday. According to the memo, the RNC has devoted unprecedented resources, and this is kind of like what they've gotten done so far, update for the troops, making sure election integrity is in place across the country, and it explains all of their achievements. Let's hope so. Had my doubts. I mean, when she was talking about the kinds of numbers of lawyers, I think she wanted 5,000 lawyers placed. Maybe. Maybe they have. I'll take it as good news anyway. I hope so. I hope so anyway, because we should all want that. So that's good news heading into the weekend. And so is this. I said it at the beginning, but for my Jewish friends, Happy New Year. Rosh Hashanah, I have to check this again. 5785 is the year? Really? All right. I can barely remember what day it is, but I do know it's Friday. And I do know it's the weekend. And you can do both. I know. There's a fire in me today talking about this stuff with this lack of response. But the good news is, and there's always light in the darkness. The good news is all of this is being exposed. And that's not going back in the toothpaste bottle. It's out. People know what this government's all about because of mainly freedom of information, what we have of it, and it's growing day by day. I mean, you just look at stuff that's out there, even on TikTok and Instagram and here on X, everywhere. People are talking about it, and they're aware. And it's going to make you pissed off, but it's a healthy part of the process to be aware and not put up with this. So that should be your thought heading into the weekend. And have a great weekend. I appreciate you so much for following me along right here on X. It lives as a post, also on YouTube. Just look for Wicked Radio with Bill Adams. And on Apple Podcasts, I finally got that name right, and on Spotify, too, on the audio version, which posts shortly after the show every single day live. It's a weekend. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Pay attention. Support your fellow Americans. And like I said, you want to do something? Spread the word and spread the truth. That's what we do. Love you. We'll talk to you soon.